doing? Is that working? Hey, Jax. What's up, Maddie? Ben, Ernesto. It's easier to wave like this than it is to push the wave button. For me. It was a nice day out. There was not anybody out on the street or anything. It was pretty peaceful. So we did a little job today. It's good. A little bit rough having guys laid off. And at least there's unemployment. But it hasn't gone on that long, right? So maybe it's about over or something? Wouldn't that be something? That's what I wanted to talk about today, was what I was climbing with on the tree job today that I did. And of course, I was climbing with this. The Monkey Beaver harness. This is a medium. These are the suspenders. Oh, you can't see them, can you? Here's what the suspenders look like in the back. This is a slightly older version of the suspenders, but basically, I mean, it's this shape. And we have less pleating now and a different interior. The foam inside is a little bit different. And here they are on the front. The snap here is a whistle. That's not how you do it. I think it's like this. Yeah, okay. The snap's a whistle. And here's the front of the belt. It's got all these ISC snaps all over it. You know, nice stuff. That's a UK thing. I hope we don't have trouble with supply. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time worrying. And the snaps, the ISC clips are also on the leg pads. See? And we also have these other little strappy doos here that hold the leg pad in position for those types of people that like to wear their leg pads kind of baggy. I always had a seat saddle back in the day, and so I've always kept my leg pads way up like that, right? But lately, because of the suspenders, because I've transferred the weight to my shoulders, I used to hate suspenders, but now I like them. Because I've transferred the weight to my shoulders, well, then I just kind of let the legs hang a bit. Anyway, I'm slightly bored about this whole climbing thing right now, actually, if I'm honest. So, but I'll just keep pushing forward here. These are the spurs. There was some talk about spurs in the comments, and I've talked about this before. These are the boots I had today. These are white lineman boots. They're got the 16-inch tops. That seems to be the arborist. New guys don't seem to like that stuff. But I think of it as armor. I really like all that armor between me and whatever's gonna smack me. So I like the boots. And these big heels, since I wear the old-fashioned spurs, those big old heels, they really keep the spur in place, you know. It's too old school for a lot of you young guys. I know it is. And that's what I like about, that's what I hate to sound like that, one of those guys, but yeah, that's what I like about this old stuff. I bought these spurs, I don't remember, in the early 90s from a newspaper ad from a retired old climber dude. He was a quiet, humble dude, and he showed me his spurs. Look, I mean, they haven't been sharpened much. There's a reason that I still have these and I still use these. It's because I hung them on the wall for most of my career, and I used a brand new pair like them, Buckingham spurs. And see, these are welded in place, you know, couldn't really replace them that easy. They've been fixed up a bit. My pads are, my dad riveted the pads to the shank because I didn't like the sloppiness of the pad. I felt like it was more of a chance for a blister, right? So these are the cups I like. These aluminum old school cups. These are the ones I like. Anywho, the old guy sold me these and the climbing harness that I used. You know, one of those old belts with 4 D-rings, 2 on the side, 2 in the front. They kind of, you sat in it like a swing, and you got used to that. That was me. So I still like the spurs. And oh yeah, what I was going to talk about, the spurs in particular, is nowadays they don't want a bunch of bark to gum up in here, right? Because then it makes it harder for you to poke the tree and get a deep poke in the tree if this is all barked up with bark or whatever. So they started making the spurs kind of go like that and leave a hole for that. But the main reason they changed spurs from this, what is this, a 15-degree angle or something? The main reason they went away from this is they wanted to open them up a bit so that when you turn your knee in, you know, you're poked into the tree like kind of like this, right? With these spurs. When you turn your knee in, out your gaff goes. And I personally, I'm used to it or whatever, so I kind of like that angle. And in my experience, if this angle is further over, it's more side tweak on your knee. So having these in closer, I feel like is easier on my knees. There'll be a lot of opinions like flying by probably in the comments or in the minds of people as they watch this at a later date or whatever. But just for me, this is how I like them. Old school. Yeah, they're heavy. I would wear some of those Kiwi climber things though, for sure, because I'm a believer that that's some looking like some trick stuff. But this is what I use. These are the spurs I use. And with the subject of gaffing out, that came up today, and I see it in the comment sections about today. Gaffing out is, I think, as was mentioned in the comments, that it's when both gaffs come out at the same time and you slam the spar. And the old guys would free climb up and then tie in. And ever since I fell in 1995, I just didn't ever want to do that again. So if I gaff out, even if both my spurs come out and I'm flip lining up the tree, I just kind of hit the ground running or hit the tree running. I mean, it's not like I'm falling all the way down. Like a madrone or something that's like really greasy, slippery, skinny, awkward. You might think about how far you're going to travel down that trunk and what little knobs and nodes you've left behind as you went up. If you're flip lining up that and you gaff out, then yeah, it could be a thing for you. But I guess I'm used to it. But I think the safety guys went away from these for that gaff out reason. That angle, they figured, improved their ability to stay poked into the tree, you know? Well, I like these. I'll just talk to you guys here. I'm sorry, I just am talking and I'm not paying attention. I feel like content is important, you know? Like, but I guess content would be talking to people, wouldn't it? So let me just catch up. Just so y'all know, I have not paid attention to the comments yet. So if you said anything that you think you want to tell me. Oh, and somebody hooked me up with $2. So whoever that was, thank you. And if there's something I'm supposed to answer, Jeff Schroeder. Oh, Jeff says he's getting oh, I almost lost my tripod. Jeff says he's getting the Kiwi climbers next. That's pretty cool. Brian Floyd, thank you. Sorry guys, new at this. Man, as winging it, wingy ding, crazy as this feels right now for me. Do Kiwi climbers have the same spur angle? I would say no. I would say no. I doubt they do. And but I've talked to the guy who made them, so my faith is in him, right? You ever do that? You get super impressed by a certain expert at something, and then you think, well, whatever that guy's doing, that's what I want to do. Well, that's kind of how I trust that the Kiwi climbers are going to be the ticket. So what else did I use today? This is just plain old stuff, man. If you're the veteran guy right now and you're just like feeling like you're watching a kindergarten Barney channel, sorry about that, but that's me right now. I'm just talking about basic stuff. So this is a wire core flip line. I always liked wire core because they got a little bit of spring in them and just feel like it was easier to move the rope up the tree. I personally have 3 sets of spurs: pole gaffs, short tree gaffs, Klein. Boom, gone. Comments gone. You guys got to keep these comments shorter for a slow reader here. Oh, it's getting laggy. Ah, that sucks. I don't know what to do about that. Monkey beaver saddle. So what's cool is this. This is called a yoke, and I just thought it was really neat. A guy in Denmark sent me this. I'm blanking on his name right now, which is sad because he used to talk to me a lot on YouTube. Anyway, he sent me this just because I noticed it in one of his videos, and I was like, whoa, where'd you get that ergonomic, right? So it turns out it was made here, and it had been rebranded by somebody else. And so this company, Yoke, makes these, and they sell them to people who act like they made them, and then those people brand them. So this is like the non-branded one, I think. So wire core flip line and spurs. Oh, this was the little modified Echo saw that I was using today. I just like how light it is. 2511T. Yeah, I'm a still guy, really, you know. Not because I'm against any any good brand. I'm not. I just started that way, and then I still have them. I still have saws from way back, and so I figure if they're still working, then then I'm that guy, right? So that's why I still. But recently I've gone to this for a lot of. I just pick it up because it's so light, and the Saw King guy, Rich in Myrtle Creek, he hooked it up and made it. Gave me the custom exhaust. See, straight pipe exhaust. And Panther Bars in the UK hooked me up with this quarter pitch bar, quarter pitch chain. And I think Rich changed the timing on this a bit too, but you kind of know whether you like something if you pick it up or not. And I keep picking it up. So that's the saw I was using today. Monkey Beaver saddle, suspenders, the very sketchy and much controversial Zigzag. Still love that thing. The spurs that are out of date and make me look like a dinosaur. Yep, that's what I use today. Gladiator pants. Chainsaw protection for all the people who would accuse me of not wearing chaps. And yeah, I think that's all I was going to talk about today. I could put in a plug for the Rion Rounds tether when you're SRT. RionRoundsDesigns.com. That's another situation where you trust the guy, so you get the product, and then sure enough, you were right. That's how that is. What's controversial about Zigzag? Look around, do a Google search. The people say they break. Mine never broke. I think if you side loaded this puppy, like this is out like this, right? If you stretched this and you tried to bend it around a tree, like to the side, then you would break it. So, but I like it. I like it because it's consistent, and I like that in an area like where I live, there's a lot of pitch on the wood, so you get tree sap all over your rope, and the Zigzag almost cleans it. You try to get some kind of friction hitch or some kind of rope runner or something like that on a rope covered in pitch, and it's not as good. The Zigzag is sweet for that. But some people hate it. So that's why I mentioned it could be a bit controversial. The Unicinder, yeah, the Unicinder is a solid thing for the advanced climber, in my opinion. I'm not there yet. I don't like the thing. I like the guy that invented it, but I tried that thing and I thought it was a little... I like how versatile it is. I do. But I don't think it's as smooth on the rappel, the bounce around in the tree. How many pairs of chainsaw pants do you have? Okay, I had some Steins that I wore out. I got the Fanner pants, and I got the those New Zealand ones. Clogger. The cloggers are the best for not dying of heat. I don't think they're as sturdy, at least not the ones I have, but I've had them for a while now. There's no tears in them. But the zippers kind of gave up. All that noise you hear is Joe. He's running an excavator and moving dirt around and running the skid steer. Cloggers are good, yep. Cloggers you can wear without getting heat stroke. And these Gladiator pants, Fanner Gladiators, They're the ticket for the winter time, I think. I don't get the saw near my legs. No need for the pants. Yeah, I like armor. I think of it as armor. Joe's making too much noise, isn't he? Is it too much? I'll talk louder. I'm gonna go about 10 more minutes. And I'm gonna do something else. What would the franchise be? Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I thought about that. The franchise would be Mike Yoder. How'd your climbing style change after you had children? Okay, don't let me forget that, because I don't want to just run around and tell 5 stories at the same time. The franchise, I guess, would be each great new person that you find gets their own city. And yeah, in a way, we've already started that right before the Corona thing. We were ramping up for that. That's why the 2 chippers, and that's why 2 chip trucks, and we were ramping up. And right now it's a little bit slowed down. Although Damien City, that he's gonna have, got a bid for a job there, and just the other day, and it's like, okay, Damien has work. It's kind of funny. I'll be on the job. But okay, what was this question? New Unicinder coming out. We'll see about that. Mike. Knots. I'm gonna do the knot thing. Yeah, I got 30 days of videos here that I'm gonna try to fulfill. Barely hear him. Dang it. Let's see here. How did your climbing style change after you had children? Nope. Not change. You know what changed my climbing style was YouTube, because I made a speedline video in 2012, and I thought I was at the cutting edge of awesome, right? I've always had this reoccurring problem with thinking I was the cutting edge of awesome. Grab a chair, Joe. Up by the fire pit. Grab a chair. They're upstairs by the fire pit. Yeah. I think that's where they're at. Anyway, that speedline video went viral, and all I was trying to do was say to all the people who were doing speedline videos, they were doing them, I thought they were just making it look difficult. They were always had a haulback line or something, and they were making it look harder than it's supposed to be. Speedlining wouldn't be done right unless it was done for the purpose of getting things done quicker. So I made that video, and it was my first GoPro video ever, and the thing went into the millions of views. And then I found out that this climbing style I had, this is 2012, and I had a Blake hitch, and I was just like doing what I do in my own little corner of the world, not knowing about the world of tree guys out there, and feeling like I must be the only tree guy on the planet. And I made this video, and people started, well, it was actually Lawrence Schultz. Lawrence Schultz says, he said, it's cool to see a Blake diehard killing it. And I thought, what does he mean, a Blake diehard? I didn't even understand the term. Like, I shouldn't be having a Blake, like the Blake should be put to death? I didn't understand. I thought it was the cutting edge, you know, the split tail system. That's what I was using. And I didn't even know that there was a thing called a hitch climber or all of this stuff. And now look at, I've got all kinds of gadgety stuff. So that's when my climbing style changed there, Mike. It changed because I found out that there was cool stuff out there that I didn't even know about. And it was because of the communication of the World Wide Web. Most guys were cool. They're like, wow, you're pretty good. You know, they got newer stuff, is basically the message. Was actually wearing these in that video. Travis Barney was there in the video. Patrick Walston, Sam Rodriguez. First GoPro video ever, 2012. It's called August Huntingke Speedline Technique. And it's all grainy. The picture isn't that good. It's overly dramatized by this free music that I found because I was trying to be a video guy. Yeah.
That was actually my first job, but it was after that tree.
Yeah, Joe showed up.
Guys.
Yeah. So, that's how, does that answer your question, Mike? Having kids change my work? Not really, because I am a late starter, a late bloomer with well, I was 29 before I had my first kid, biologically. And yeah, I guess, when I was, what? I don't remember how old I was young, but I ended up marrying this girl, and she was pregnant when I met her, and then his dad didn't want to hang, so he never knew his dad, so I took care of him. But I took care of him in my youth. Like, I was always commercial fishing. I was gone a lot, and so I was too selfish back then to say that anybody changed how I did anything, although I mellowed out about the age of 29 and started to be home all the time. So that was a lot of information. What have I missed? Does having kids change the way you guys do stuff? A towable lift? Nope, never used a towable lift, a spider lift or whatever. Hey, Daniel, Leonard. Yeah, I mean, having kids is like, there's always somebody, right? So you can be safe for yourself. Does changing kids change the way? I don't know. I've never been asked that. I don't know what to think about that question. I guess it would if you were about to get crazy. You could be like, oh, you know, little Junior is probably going to want me to play Hot Wheels when I get home. So, yeah, I think I know where you're going with that. But I don't know that I've thought about it because I never intend to wreck myself. So I do what I do. He only tries to keep the kid from climbing. He's 20 and the best rope man. He doesn't want his boy to get hurt. Yeah, I understand. I'm afraid my kids will get into this line of work. Paul Brown wants to know why you rev the saw when you're doing a crane pick.
I know what you're talking about, that cedar. It was because we were trying to cut slow, and my saw was so sharp, and the cedar was so soft. They were weighted. It was hard to tell from the video, but those stems, even though they were straight up and down, they were weighted really heavily on one side because they were codominant, and they had all the branches on one side, and they were tipping into the crane sling, and we were out pretty far with our reach, and we were trying to eliminate dynamics. So you can't really see in that video, but it was moving, and because I was making single cuts, it was moving every pulse of the saw, and trying to keep the chain moving. You can feel when it starts to bind before you get too far into something, and also when you're not just revved way up, because the saw doesn't really run good, a two-stroke at like half throttle. You're just gonna like foul the plug. So you can kind of feel when your chain starts to bind without being so full throttle that you're buried in it too far before it binds. It's just like a way to feel things, moving in the wood.
Yeah, so we were feathering. I call it feathering. And there's a lot of times when you'll feather out a cut and there'll be some revving involved. That would be how I would answer that. Sometimes it's
that's not something all the time.
Yeah.
Those trees were leaning and weighted heavily on one side, you're saying, and it's super soft wood. You can cut too far pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a time to just boom, cut all the way through, but
it was all just about making it soft on the crane because we were kind of reaching out a little ways at the edge of where we wanted to be.
Old guy that still does a bit of old school. Yeah. I remember the first time somebody called me old guy. And the old guys right now are probably thinking, shut up. But I was at the skate park. I took my boy down to the skate park, the one that I told you about a minute ago. And I was there in my hickory shirt and my steel hat. And I was waiting for him as he skated around. And I heard some kids talking to each other. And they were talking about somebody near me, but they were all, no, the one over by the old guy. And they pointed at me. Oh, yeah. And I was like, maybe 30, 31. I don't know. I wasn't old guy yet. 50 is the new 30, only if you take care of yourself at some point. No, well, 175 feet, probably 180 around here would be maximum height. Probably.
Yeah, in the residential areas.
Yeah, in residential areas. And then 185, 90 probably in Washington when I was there. There were some really, 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 really tall trees around Seattle. Thanks, Jason. I'm not strung out though. This is just how I look, man. It's just too bad for me. Always worked in Southern Oregon? No. Worked in Alaska and Seattle and the Kitsap Peninsula, the Olympic Peninsula. Southern California. Ever had a tree go the wrong way? Of course. But one of them, the worst one I can think of going the wrong way was just a little lodgepole thing, and it went across some high voltage. Went across some wires, and that sucked. Caused a power outage, and it was embarrassing, super embarrassing, and it shouldn't have happened because it was super silly how it happened. First experience. I'm not telling that story tonight, Angel, because it's a long story. My first real climbing experience. I tackled the most ridiculous, difficult, like even now I would like gear up for this thing, and I tackled it like it was going to be easy, like I knew what I was doing, and it was that tree that decided whether I would do tree work ever again. I think I almost decided that tree work wasn't for me halfway through that job. And if you want to hear that story, you could actually go to educatedclimber.com. Is that the guy?
I don't know if that's the website, but it's.
I think it is.
Climber podcast, probably.
So he does. Patrick is his name. He does podcasts. If you go to educatedclimber.com, he has a podcast where he interviewed me, and I told him about that story. It was the beginning of tree work for me, really. I mean, I had done logging and stuff, but that was quite a day. So. Fear of heights, sure. Yeah, when I first started, I had a definite respect, light stomach looking down for sure. But I overcame it, and then I fell, and then I had to overcome it again. "35 minutes. The first climb, Swamp Bear. Go to educatedclimber.com and check that out. Austin's looking for info again. He was here last night.
What kind of info?
$5 info.
Give him $5 worth of advice?
I need to give this guy some info. As a 300-pound climber, most trees are difficult. Oh, he's not asking for info. Thanks for the tip. About tie-ins and yeah. I get sketched out about tie-ins and limb walking. Well, you know, there's a famous movie,
Yeah.
that line of, man's got to know his limitations. So thank you, Snowman. He gave the link, educatedclimber.com. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, sir. Educatedclimber.com is a place where you can download the fundamentals of general tree work. I should have that book sitting here and I'll show you that. But you can go there and get an electronic version of that at educatedclimber.com, and then you can listen to podcasts of him interviewing different people. What was the farthest swing? Man, I don't know. I have had some awesome ones. Some ones that ended so good, and some ones that were pretty George of the Jungle. Remind me about this, and I'll tell you a story about tying into a tree that broke under me. Ooh. I'm not going to tell it right now because I'm going to get in the house in a minute. Worst accident with chainsaw? I don't know. Boy, you guys. I don't know. Yeah. I don't have any real chainsaw cuts that I can think of. I cut myself bad with a handsaw one time. And I cut myself sharpening a bunch of times. But I never laid into myself with a chainsaw that I can think of. I don't recall ever doing that. Oh no! Oh my goodness, how could I forget? I cut off my big toe. I'm not even kidding.
That's where his thumb went.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was the worst. Yeah, dang it. I cannot believe I forgot about that. But yeah, that was a sad, horrible day for my toe. It's nylon now, the tendon that goes across the top of my toe. Man, cut right through my boots. I was young and dumb, and I had wearing combat boots, and they were new, and I was so upset that I had ruined my boot, and stuck my finger through the hole of the boot, like at the level of the sole, and reached up, and I could still feel like some skin under my toe. So I was like, glad, but no, it was through the bone and everything, and it was a big mess. The chainsaw does a horrible job of cutting cleanly through a toe, right at the base. Still hurts on certain days. Shouldn't have done that. And I had my foot in a dumb spot. I might have been 24, 25. I don't know how old I was. But I had my foot in a dumb spot, and I was telling myself, you should move your foot. And I told myself, nah, I'll just be careful. I know it's close. And then zing, right through my boot, right through my toe. Yeah, thanks for asking. It looked like I had blocked it out there for a second, but now it's back. So, I don't know, guys, about stuff. Changes in the tree industry. If they go more and more and more government controlled, then you're going to see a lot of more like Europe, the UK and stuff, where they have heavy regulations and they ban this, that, and the other thing. And I could think you could probably see that moving across the land because people, every time somebody gets hurt, it's a horrible thing, and so laws are made because somebody gives compelling evidence that this and such should happen because that happened, and so you end up with heavy regulations saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and a lot of safety redundancies. And I like I like it when people are responsible for themselves and they can have some freedom without being too dodgy. But yeah, if I was expecting a change, I guess it would be more and more and more regulation is what I would think would be the change coming.
If it's not always a bad thing though. Like, it seems like it, but from 10 years ago when everybody was wearing jeans and like
Less than
barely a
10.
hard hat and we're like not even ever gonna pay for a pair of chainsaw pants,
Yeah.
a pair of chaps. Chainsaw pants are comfy. They're on
Yeah.
all the time. That's even though it's not a regulation, it's definitely a step towards safety that
I bet it's a
people-
regulation
in
somewhere.
some places it is. Yeah, probably. I know I did cut myself a little bit with a chainsaw on my knee one time. And it wasn't horrible, but I bought 2 pairs of chainsaw pants the next day,
Yeah.
and it was still cheaper than
Well, that's smart
the
regulation.
ER visit.
That's
But
kind of
the
like,
things like those. They're just always on, and they're comfortable.
yeah.
And the helmets have vastly improved over the last couple of years in the communication, and there's people that would say I don't need all that. That's you can't make me get all that, but it's better.
Yeah, I like
it.
the armor.
I mean, you can go too far, like anything,
Yeah.
but
Does that one guy,
that's the type of
the guy that
regulation
wears arm chaps,
yeah,
is that required somewhere out there in the land? Arm chaps?
he says that is there.
In France.
Yeah,
Yeah, the tiny climber guy. He wears arm chaps. Says it's a thing. It seems kind of like a good idea, but it's not. I don't know if everything should be a rule. Like even like don't stone me over this, but even like seatbelts. It's a great idea. Maybe people under a certain age should be required to wear a seatbelt, right? Because it's just super smart and it shows love and it shows that you care for a minor if you take care of them, right? So that makes sense. But once you reach a certain age, can you tell somebody to wear a helmet? Like you have to wear a helmet. I mean, if it's good for them, it's good for them, because if you could, what would stop you from making them stop eating at McDonald's or something like that?
yeah. Well, I mean,
Because McDonald's is going to kill you.
a lot of health insurances now will give. They don't make you, but they'll give you like.
They give you
better
incentives.
rate if you wear a Fitbit, and they can keep an eye on your activity
Oh,
and make sure
man.
you get stuff. It's kind of like a clean driving record. You get a better
Wear a
deal on your
Fitbit that
insurance.
reports to your insurance guy.
Yeah, they
Wow.
do that now in a lot
I've
of
never heard of
places.
that.
So
So they could have a thing in your car that tells how much you speed and what your rate
they
goes.
have that too.
Your
Insurance
rate goes
companies
up and
will-
down with your speedometer.
Yeah, no, they do have those.
Wow.
Insurance companies, they'll have that's like a GPS thing, and
Probably for whole companies like fleets.
no, they do it for individual people now. They'll give you a better rate if you agree to put it in your vehicle,
Uh-huh.
or it might be an app on your phone or something that they can track how you're driving. But,
Thanks for tuning in, people. I don't want to do too long of a video. Boy, there's probably a ton of stuff I would want to see flying by in the comment section. But I'll read it later. Hopefully I didn't bore the crap out of everyone. Austin, why did you get into tree service? Wow, you can't ask me that. He gave me $2.
$2.
No. Now I have to answer that or something?
Well, that's in the story, and someone already put the link up there to the podcast.
Oh. Is that in the story? Is that in the podcast?
Your first tree, and like you're
Well,
deciding to do it or not do
no,
it.
I saw a guy
I think it was.
rigging a tree over. Yeah, that story's in there. So I saw a guy rigging a tree out over a new foundation. As a matter of fact, that guy called me to do a job recently. First ever Jedi climber that I ever looked up to. And I stood there, I was 18, and I looked up at that guy, and he was swinging around, and he was swinging pieces around, and I was like, I literally said, I'm going to do that.
Is that where we fixed that light the other day?
No, we haven't done the job yet. It's going to be a crane job. He was awesome. Never wore a hard hat, that guy. But boy, he was a good climber. It's just old school baseball hat. I remember I was like, why do you wear a hat? And he's all, it keeps the sawdust down my hair. And I was criticizing him for wearing a hat. Wasn't even a hard hat. Come a long way. Hey, we're going to go. Okay? I will be back. I'll try to be a little more organized next time, okay? I feel like I've been here talking to you, but not hearing much. Not being a good listener. So, thanks for hanging around. I hope you guys liked that short little video today. That was just, it's the only job we had, and so I kind of put it out there. Have a good one, guys.